Hi everyone, I hope you're well. One of the first things you'll notice about today's video is that it covers both today, Wednesday, April 29th, uh, lesson, as well as Monday, I think that's May 5th, May 4th, May 4th's activities. And one of the main reasons I am doing this is so that you can do this at your own pace. Monday's lesson is very much a part two of today's lesson. And I decided that if you really were interested and didn't want to stop and had the time, you should have the ability to go onward. Um, so there won't be an additional video posted on Monday, and the assignment for Monday will also be posted today. I'll try and make it clear what's what and when things are due. And hopefully any questions you have about that I can answer at today's Zoom meeting. And I'm also going to have an additional Zoom meeting on Monday morning, probably 9:30 as well. That way I can cover any of the materials that you require and make it exceptionally clear. So today's activity is about King Leopold II. And the next 3 or 4 classes will all be focused on the Congo. King Leopold II was the King of Belgium. You did read a little bit about him in your textbook. He is responsible for the scramble of Africa. Um, he was one of the leading players at the Berlin Conference, where Europeans sat down and divided up Africa. There were no Africans at that meeting. They did not consider the kingdoms and ethnicities of the people already living in Africa. And they basically didn't care. They did what they wanted. And what King Leopold II wanted was a colony of his own. And he got the Congo. Now, other European countries probably thought he was crazy. The Congo is in the heart of Africa, Central Africa. And if you remember the maps that we talked about, um, it takes a really long time for Europeans to get to the center of Africa. One reason is the geography. The fastest way to travel would be by rivers, except these rivers aren't really travelable. Travelable? Travelable. You know that there are cataracts and waterfalls that break them up. And then, okay, let's walk to the center of Africa and not have to go through the rivers that we can't cross. Uh, well, then you have the problem of malaria. If you recall, malaria is a disease that you catch from mosquitoes. It's not until quinine is discovered that Europeans are really capable of going to the center of Africa without dying. So that is really what pushes King Leopold forward. And he saw Africa for its resources. In fact, Africa has some of the wealthiest resources in the entire world. Uh, Tragically, the African people are also the poorest in the world because every other country benefits off of Africa, but actually the Africans themselves. Uh, you know, to give you an idea of just how wealthy the Congo could be if it were to go back to the African people, um, you have basically things that we use every day that come out of the Congo. The cell phones that you're either watching this on or your computers, they all run on lithium batteries. Guess where lithium comes from? The Congo, as well as other resources for computer hard drives and such like cobalt and other precious metals. Now, the item that was most valuable back then, during the time of King Leopold II, was rubber. You may not know much about rubber, but it grows on trees, and it has to be harvested. And basically, King Leopold II enslaves the Congolese people and has them harvest this rubber. And if they don't do it quick enough, and if they don't, get their quota or their minimum amount of rubber, he has their feet and hands cut off. There's also tales of cannibalism. Like I said, this is really interesting. The reading that I'm going to ask that you do today and Monday, it really is a crazy story. There's cannibalism, there's assassination attempts, there's poison in toothpaste, and the dissolving of bodies in sulfuric acid. It's crazy. So hopefully you at least find it interesting. Um, King Leopold II, actually, most of the people we talk about with the Congo are not good people. Um, you will see more in the video that I'm going to ask that you watch first. It's about 15 minutes long. Not Belgium, Congo. Sorry, Belgium's such a big player in this. Congo, The Curse of Riches. It's about 15 minutes long. It's worth the watch. So I'm going to ask that you watch that and then read the first half of Forever in Chains, which I'll explain in a second. And that is really going to explore the personality of King Leopold II, as well as some of the consequences of what he does. One other thing that I wanted to add that the video and the reading doesn't go into, but I think gives a good idea of King Leopold II's personality was he actually had some Congolese people like kidnapped and brought back to Belgium, and actually put them in human zoos, which tells you that he doesn't actually view the Africans as actual human beings. But he would set up these fake Congolese villages in Belgium, and these wealthy Belgians would come in and like walk the village and see the Congolese in their natural habitat. So you can see he's not exactly the most wonderful guy. So let me just walk you through. So for today's activity, okay, as I have it down, you are going to watch the video, Congo, Curse of Riches, and then read Forever in Chains. Now, today's activity, which will be due Monday, May 4th, okay, will require you to read pages 1 through 3. And let me just get that up here as well so that you can kind of see. This is the reading. It's long, but again, this is 2 days worth of reading. So you are reading the first 3 pages. It's really 2.5. To the point where it says by the Second World War, that you don't have to read for today. If you want to continue on and do part 2, you're more than welcome to, but I'm not asking you by Monday to do that. That will be due by Wednesday. So up until that point is your first reading, okay? So you'll watch the video, then you'll do this reading, okay? And what you're going to do is fill out a note sheet as you do that. And you'll see it says part 1. Again, this will be due, and maybe I'll even type it now. Due Monday 4. Ooh, it's going to make me reload it. I'll finish that later. All right, so this is based on both the reading and the movie, although you can get the information from both. Describe the Congo below for each situation it mentions. So this can be in bullet points before European arrival. So what did the Congo look like before Europeans? Then tell me what it looks like after European arrival, when it's still under Belgian control, like King Leopold II is in power. And again, bullet points is fine. Next step is a who's who. You have a whole set of characters here, and when I say characters, they are real life people. I want you to tell me who are they and what actions did they take in the Congo. And this is going to be really important because for our activity next week, towards the end of next week, we're going to be starting to put King Leopold II or Mobutu on trial, and you are going to have to pretend to be one of these people under questioning. So you have David Livingstone, Henry Morton Stanley, King Leopold II, Joseph Conrad, Ed Morel, Roger Casement. Not only are all these individuals in the video, but going back to that reading for a second, I have them bolded. You should be able to find them. If you are missing a person, it's because you're not reading, okay? Every single one is in there, and they're basically in order, okay? And then you have one final question for today's activity of what happened to King Leopold II after the world's recognition of the terrible conditions in the Congo, and what happened to the colony of the Congo, after that point, okay? So that is today's activity. Now, if you're feeling inspired and you are drawn to this story, you can continue on to part 2. Otherwise, this part is going to be your assignment for Monday. Okay, part 2. And again, I will fix it so that it is due Wednesday 5/6. Okay. So it's very similar in setup. You will have another really short video, and I'll get it on there. It's a BBC video, and it's about 3 minutes long on Mobutu. Then there's all these people to know. Again, you're going to be reading in Forever in Chains. It's by that second half of it. So by the Second World War, that section. Okay, and it'll cover Patrice Lumumba, President Eisenhower, Mobutu Sese Seko, Laurent Desire Kabila, and Joseph Kabila Kabange. So you will do the same thing. Who were they and what actions did they take in the Congo? There are a couple more questions down here than there are on part one's activity. So what role did the United States play in the support of Mobutu? And how responsible do you think believe the US to be in the current state of the Congo? You're also going to tell me what was the impact of independence on the Congo? What happened to Mobutu after he was removed from power? Because that's something else to consider. You know, you're going to be looking at King Leopold II. What happens to him after he's removed from power? What about Mobutu? What happens to him? And is that fair? Okay. And then what connection is between the Congo and the problems in Rwanda? Because later on, we're going to be taking a look at Rwanda, and it's important to see how these fit in. All right. So that is both today's and Monday's activity. And it's all based on the Forever in Chains reading, and there'll be a couple videos posted as well for that. Okay. I know that it can be confusing with the two activities assignments posted on the same day, but I really wanted to give you that opportunity to do what you need to do. And hopefully I can answer any questions during Zoom meetings that you might have. And of course, I'm around for emails. All right. So I hope you have fun with this, that you really get involved in the story. It is a wild ride, I will tell you that. And yes, I know I'm a history nerd, so of course I'm going to think that, but I think you'll even see how interesting it can be. All right, guys, I'll see you at the Zoom conferences. Bye.